Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ashley. To the alternate point of view, I wanted to share with you guys Ashley and her birthday because what we are going to talk about today, and that is Ashley Henning and her birthday, her last day here on this earth. And that is the day that Jordan Henning decided to take her life. And I want to keep talking about this because it is a very controversial verdict. He got the second degree manslaughter charge based on his defense of extreme emotional distress. Now, we've been doing these videos because this is a very new defense, extreme emotional distress. I have not heard of this. They've been comparing it to battered spouse syndrome. And like I said, we have not seen the entire trial. We've only seen in bits and pieces. So what we've missed, obviously, is a lot of the defense. We missed a lot of how the jury came to this decision. What we have seen is the video of Ashley's last moments on Earth. And what we have seen is what led up to the incident, what led up to, what we feel is absolutely disgusting and heinous. And what on earth, what I thought when I first saw the video, the leading up to it point was, I couldn't understand the video. I couldn't hear. I thought she was asking about a light or something that she needed help with, but apparently it turned out to be like a slip and slide that she wanted Jordan to bring in. And I guess it turned out they had asked their son to do it earlier. So he was yelling at the child. I didn't understand why he was bringing the child into the situation. And it turned out that's why. And then I did hear that correctly. And that was confirmed in the closing arguments that he was telling Carter to drop and give him 60 or something like that. So he was telling Jordan to give push-ups. Carter to give push-ups. So that is something that they did. They were a military family, so that's not unheard of. I was raised a military brat, so it's not unheard of, y'all. It's not child abuse, just so you know. It's not also unheard of to ask your child to do something and they didn't do it, and you get them to do what you ask them to do. So it's not unheard of, just so you know. This is not unusual to have this bickering back and forth about, hey, I asked so-and-so to do something and they didn't do it. And, one of the parents cave and say, whatever, just do it, So that's not unheard of. What is unheard of is to take your spouse's life over, the situation. But I don't think that's what it was about. So I just want to clarify that because I don't want in any way for Carter to go through his life and think that this was about his parents arguing over him and what they asked him to do. That's not what it was about. So I just want to clarify that is not what it was about. That is what they tried to make it about in the trial, and that's not what it was about. So what it was about at the end of the day was whatever Jordan had going on in his mind. Jordan clearly has issues and had issues, and we don't know what those issues are because we didn't get to see or hear the entire trial, which is why I believe that the jury came to the decision that they came to. I don't know the entire story. We don't know the entire story, and maybe eventually we will get to hear what the jury got to hear. I'm not excusing their verdict, but clearly there is a lot of somethings that we did not hear. And you will hear in my last video where I covered the closing arguments from the prosecution. You'll get to hear what my point of view is from the prosecution's closing arguments, where I felt that, and I still feel, that the prosecution did not help their case. They actually helped Jordan's case. So I believe that the jury came back, and I say this, y'all, out of both sides of my mouth, because I don't know the entire trial. I don't know the whole evidence of the trial, so I'm saying this loosely, but based on the prosecution's closing arguments and based on what little I have heard of the defense's case, I do believe that the jurors came back with the best verdict that they could based on what they were presented. Okay? Not the verdict that I would have come back with had the only evidence I had been given was that video. Now, that is all that we have seen, the public. We have been shown that video over and over and over again, but the jury has seen a whole lot more. Now, again, I'm going to point out that every witness we have heard from or that we have seen has stated that Jordan has never been abusive and that Ashley has not been. They, for the most part, had a very good marriage. So what did the jurors hear that made them believe that Jordan only deserved this lesser charge? So Court TV did speak with Ashley's family, and I ache for them. I feel horrible for them, but I want to still continue to just reach out, just respect Ashley. I mean, my gosh, I'm telling you, y'all, I have, I mean, children crimes, all kinds of crimes. And I, every time I say I have seen, I think I've seen a lot of all, and a lot of these things are now just on video. I mean, it's on video. But this is pretty bad. This is awful. So I do want to show y'all the interview that they did with Court TV. I want to show y'all the actual absolute emotional. And this is the thing where you can get emotions caught up into a lot of things, y'all. But the sentencing has come through for Jordan, and it's not what at all what we would have liked, because like I said, the maximum is 20 years. Okay. And that's the max, 20 years. He took the life of his wife, the mother of his children, and he gets to go to prison, and he only has to serve, I believe, 75% of that. So he gets 20 years. So here we go.
Henning, the verdict on the penalty phase is we, the jury, fix the defendant's punishment for the offense of first-degree manslaughter under instruction number 1 at 20 years, signed by the foreperson. Again, let me ask, is that the unanimous verdict of the entire jury, all 12 members? All right, thank you.
That was the sentence handed down to Jordan. Ashley, is that enough? The jury convicted Jordan Henning of the lesser charge of first-degree manslaughter, which really did surprise those who had been watching the trial and saw those damning and highly disturbing surveillance videos. We were all able to see how Jordan Henning chased and killed his beautiful wife the night.
So you see where he pushed her. She's not pushing him. Again, I'm telling you, if you base it on just the video and nothing else, we as a public, as a juror, as what have you, we would have probably been like, take that man out, right?
Of her birthday, shooting her repeatedly, coming back after his gun jammed and spitting on her. Ashley's friends and family were in distress over what they considered a very lenient sentence. And we saw Ashley's cousin not holding back his disdain and outrage for the jury's decision.
I have one more thing to say. I've served this country for almost 22 years. 22 years in the Marine Corps. I've deployed 7 times to the combat operations, combat zones. 9 times total deployed. And this is the justice that America gives me. Unthinkable, unspeakable, it's disgusting. Thank you, John. Cowards. Every single one of you.
Any cross-examination?
Every single one of you are cowards.
Prosecutors argued that after Ashley's birthday party, Jordan flew into a rage. His defense team said there was more to the story than the video showed. They made the argument that Jordan was a victim of physical and mental abuse and simply broke. Clearly, the jury believed him in the story.
So what's so sad is, I mean, can you imagine like being a member of our military and you have fought, like he's deployed. He's actually deployed in our military. And Jordan has not. That was one of the claims that they made, was he had trained so many times in like active, like similar like actual military kind of like war environments, what have you, but he's never been deployed. They were using that as part of his defense. This is Ashley's cousin who's actually been in like deployment situations, and he's not out taking people's lives, you know. I mean, that's disgusting.
And Ashley's dear friend, Holly Victorino. May I just start by, John, first of all, saying thank you for your service, and to you and to Holly and everyone else in Ashley's family and friend circle who misses her so much. We are so sorry for your loss. I know this is a tough thing to experience and a tough pill to swallow last night for you with that verdict. John, would you kind of walk us through what was going through your mind when you heard the jury's decision, please?
Yes, ma'am. It started with shock, anger, confusion. I couldn't understand how anybody who's seen that video, and they even came back to ask to see the video multiple times for some of the jury questions, and to see some of the most gruesome parts and to come away with that decision, it was unbelievable to me.
I'm sure it was. It was unbelievable to so many of us trial watchers who were watching it, and many of us, myself included, thought this was a foregone conclusion. When I heard his defense attorney ask in opening statements to find him guilty of something lesser than murder, that told me, oh wow, this guy probably would have pled to that. These prosecutors did not want to allow that to happen, and I don't blame them. I think they were absolutely correct to move forward on the murder charges, and here the jury did what they did. Holly, tell me your reaction. Where were you when you heard the jury's decision? What did you think, please?
Yeah, I was in the courtroom sitting right by John. It was just the same as him. It was shock. I was devastated, disgusted. And I cannot help. I thought of this all night. I cannot help but think this is strictly on the prosecutor's shoulders. And also, I feel like this is because Ashley was black. And had the tables been turned and she killed her white husband, she would have been held accountable and done much more time than 20 years. And I just feel like this whole entire court system failed her. When they were doing jury selection, they had over 100 jurors show up for selection. They selected 14, with 2 being alternates. Out of all of that, there was only one beautiful black woman who was on that. Just yesterday, right before everything started, deliberations, they said they were going to randomly select 2 people to be let go. She was one of them. That beautiful black lady was one of them that got selected to be let go. And I cannot help but think there's just more to the story, and that a lot of it has to do with race. And I'm furious. It's disgusting. And it's just something I feel like I'm never going to get over.
Holly, thank you so much for sharing that, the makeup of the jury. Thank you for sharing that. Wow. So this was then an all-white deliberating jury. Am I correct,
yes,
then,
ma'am.
if you're saying that one of the
Yes.
folks who was chosen to be an alternate was the one, you noted, just stunning a black woman who was on the jury hearing everything? Ooh, who knows? Who knows? But thank you for raising that point. And I know many of our trial watchers who are discussing things on message boards and whatnot, I have wondered the same. The one thing that I was talking with...
Okay, so I'm going to stop and point this out, okay? I know she's saying that it was an all-white jury, but I can't... and I thought about that at first. It hit me in that way where I was like, oh my gosh, it was an all white jury. What the heck? But there's a but, and this is the alternate point of view. So we're going to go there. If the tables were turned, y'all, if this were a black guy, and like she said, if it were Ashley on trial, if she had an all white jury, they would have been saying it differently. They'd have been like, oh my gosh. If you can't have it all the ways, y'all. He was he had a jury of his peers. Now you can't have if you have a black defendant and you have an all-white jury, you're going to have people out there protesting and say there was an all-white jury and there were no black people on the jury. That's not a jury of your peers, right? So you can't have someone out there saying this is a race thing if you kicked the black woman off the jury. So that's not a jury of your peers. I understand having a good mix to the jury. That's a thing. but a jury of his peers actually did sit on the jury. So you can't have it all the ways, y'all. So I'm just saying, if you have a black guy or a black female or a Hispanic or Asian or whatever, and I tell you this right now, if there's an Asian defendant, you ain't having a bunch of Asians on the jury. That's never happening. That never happens. So this is not a jury of your peers. If you're saying this is a race thing and you kicked off it was only one black juror, and that would have been, not saying it wouldn't have been fair, but I'm just saying you can't call race if you have an all white jury going up judging a white guy, because you would call race if you have a black guy as a defendant and it's an all white jury. So you can't have it all the ways, y'all. So that's I'm going to point that out. It's jury of his peers. That's accurate. So that's the point I'm going to make on that one.
Talking about on my show yesterday with a friend of mine who's a retired JAG officer, is that in all the testimony, we didn't hear anybody but Jordan Henning saying that he was abused. And I can't help but wonder if there was some projection going on. I don't know. John, tell me, in all the years, thinking back, I know hindsight's 20/20, was there ever a situation where you thought Ashley might have been abused or controlled by Jordan?
Controlled, yes. I did not think that Jordan would be dumb enough, callous enough, unbecoming of a man enough to abuse his wife, to abuse his children. And to be quite frankly, I don't think that Ashley would tolerate anything that would rise to the level of abuse. Understood.
So just controlling actions, maybe controlling words, but nothing physical to your knowledge. Thank you for that, John. We know that day was supposed to be a celebration, her 37th birthday, a party at her house. I mean, and it turned into a nightmare, as you both know. Holly, you were so kind to share with us a video that a friend of yours took. You were there at the birthday party. Let's take a look back together at beautiful Ashley.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ashley.
Oh, that's hard to watch, isn't it? And I obviously don't know her, but I just feel for you both. Holly, what do you think when you see that video?
First off, I just want to clarify, I was not at the party. Her other friend that testified, Jamie, was the one that recorded that. That's okay.
Yeah. Thank you for
seeing that video is, yes, ma'am. Seeing that video is heartbreaking because it just gives you a small glimpse of the type of person Ashley was. She was happy. Anytime she was around her friends, she was happy. Just the most caring, bubbly person. She had the best laugh. It was so loud and she just had the best laugh. And she was supportive of all of her friends and family. And I cannot help but be disgusted when I watch that, and to know that only a couple hours later, her life was taken from her.
I completely understand how you feel. I saw that video evidence, and it's rare you get evidence like that in a homicide case, especially a domestic situation behind closed doors. And the evidence was certainly there to substantiate those charges. I don't know what the jury saw. I know what I saw. John, tell us more about Ashley, because prosecutors are restricted on what they can bring in about a case victim, right? You wish you could share everything with a jury, but the rules don't allow you to. So share with us some more. Tell us more about your cousin.
Yes, she was an Army soldier. She was a wife, mother. She was a volunteer. She just recently graduated with her degree in human resource management, volunteering at the local the food shelter down here in Hardin County. Juggling her son, taking him to soccer games and soccer practices. She was everything. She was Superwoman. She was Wonder Woman. She could. There was nothing Ashley couldn't conquer. There was no one that came in contact with Ashley and walked away with a negative perception of her. How do you take somebody like that in this world, take someone like that who means so much to everybody away from us? And there's no way to describe what Ashley meant to me, to her friends like Holly, to her friends like Miss Jamie Savat, to my family, to her children. How do you describe the loss of everything? She was everything.
What a beautiful human being. What a successful human being, an American hero your cousin was. My heart breaks for you, John, and Holly, for you too. I know, sometimes friends are their family at heart, right? And I know you loved her too, just like John does and always will. Ashley's kids, I keep thinking about her kids in all this. And of course, we can't show them and we want to protect their privacy, but how are they doing, Holly or John, if either of you have spoken to them recently? How are they holding up?
Yeah, I just spoke to her oldest son last night on FaceTime, and the best way to put this is these children were given a life sentence that they didn't ask for. Carter is still a young child, and all I think about is, what if he's invited to birthday parties and he sees a slip and slide? He's going to remember the night that this happened and that this fight started over a slip and slide. And it's just, she's not going to be there. Her oldest son graduates high school this year. She would have been the loudest one, cheering him on, supporting him. She's not going to be there for anything. And it is so heartbreaking because they deserve so much more, and all of this could have been avoided. I worry a lot about Carter because he was unfortunately very, in the moment with them when this was happening. He ran away terrified. He did what he could do to try to save his mom. And I know this is going to be on his shoulders forever. And I hope that he doesn't feel guilty for this. And I do want to mention that this child has so much weight on his shoulders that at Ashley's funeral, he couldn't even go in the room for a long time. And then when he did, he walked up to her casket, just collapsed himself on her body and was apologizing to her as if it was his fault. And this jury, this judge, this entire court did her no justice. And now these children have to live with the life sentence they were given by the monster of a stepdad they lived with.
Wow. Gosh, Holly, thank you for sharing that. These are the stories that we don't get to hear and we should get to hear. On Court TV, we show the trials. Our cameras are restricted to showing that. And unless, people like you who are tremendous advocates for Ashley come forward and share those stories, they're left untold. So thank you for that. Our hearts, our love and prayers go out to you both and to Ashley's children. They should be so proud of their mom. And for her son who tried to get her help. He should be so proud. That was a valiant effort and he did everything right that day. I hope he knows that. Please come back. Let us know how the kids are doing. You both, I know, are going to be great advocates for them. Whether you know it or not, you're already advocating for Ashley's children and carrying on her legacy. And I want you to know we're certainly not forgetting about Ashley here at Court TV. We're saluting her. I saluted her in my opening statement this morning at 8, and we want to do it again as we go to break. John Williams, Holly Victorino, thank you both so much for sharing.
So, again, I just want to make sure everyone, and I want Carter to know, this is not his fault in any way. God love that child. God love all of her children. God love her family. I know God is wrapping his arms around her entire family. Oh man. I don't understand. I can't even pretend that I understand. I hope that I just completely had a blank on her name, the woman on Court TV, because she says, I understand what you're going through. I don't even want to lie and say I understand what they're going through because I don't understand what they're going through. I can just sympathize with what they're going through because, man, Ashley lost her life in such a horrific way, and her children were in the house, and Carter's just a child. He was scared to death, and I'm sure none of her children expected this to happen at all. I mean, at all. And obviously, if there was abuse in the house, they would have rushed, and Carter did. But it's no way, shape, or form at all in any way his fault. I hope he hears that. I know he hears it from his family every day. And I know that it is something that's hard for him to believe, but I really do hope and pray that there are enough, even strangers out there for him, telling him that he does just, his mother loves him and was protecting him. And she never expected something like this to happen. This is, oh my gosh. I mean, so no, I don't understand. I feel terrible. I am sympathetic, but I don't understand. I can't possibly imagine what they're going through. But I can see, as what they said, that they completely blame the prosecution. I can see where the prosecution lost this case and lost justice for Ashley. I felt like they had it in the opening statements. It was a very compelling opening statement. It was very short and to the point because I do believe they hinged a lot on that video. I believe that they felt that video was going to be pretty much an open and shut case for them. And I think they hinged everything on that. I think that they felt that the jury was going to just take that video and fall for it hook, line, and sinker. But they didn't, they didn't understand. I don't think that they took into consideration that Jordan looks nothing like he did back then. He looks now like a weaselly little guy. He doesn't look like the soldier that he looked like back then. I mean, and that's not even, I say back then. It's just over a year ago. And he looks like a guy who could be controlled by someone. And even her cousin says that Jordan wasn't man enough to abuse her physically. And Ashley looks like a very strong, independent woman, and she's a military woman. So it's not like she was going to let somebody do that to her. So there was no abuse in that relationship. They were both obviously equal partners. So Jordan used this to his advantage. He used this situation, this defense, but where I think that the prosecution failed was they didn't have any rebuttal or any witnesses to debunk this extreme emotional distress. They didn't have any experts to get up there and say, they knew what the defense was going to be. So why didn't they have any experts up there to say, this extreme emotional defense, here's what, could possibly trigger it. Here's what it is. They didn't have that. Maybe they couldn't have a lot said about Ashley as a person because you can't do that in the courtroom, but they could have debunked the defense because it is on the prosecution to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. It is not up to the defense, but the defense did. They beat the prosecution. They played chess while the prosecution played checkers. And you don't do that when you have someone's life in your hands. And they had Ashley's life, and Ashley already lost her life. And now they just took that and they just destroyed her memory and her children. And I just think it's sad. I think it's horrible. Because now there's this video out there that I think it's really disrespectful for people to be playing over and over and over again. And I'm so sorry for her family. I'm so sorry for her children that video is out there. And I really hate anyone who's playing that. I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I really hope people will stop doing that. And I just pray for her family. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Ashley's family. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry that I'm sure that they're not happy that she has Henning on her tombstone. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for her family. I'm sorry for her children. I'm just sorry. I'm really sorry that this jury, I'm sorry that the prosecution didn't do more. I'm sorry that they hinged the entire case on the video and didn't do their due diligence on this extreme emotional distress. So, but let's, fingers crossed that Jordan is a weasel in prison and God will take care of him. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I hope that you all keep Ashley's family in your prayers. And please, please, please pray for Carter and the kids. I just hope that Carter can, understand that this is not his fault. Carter, this is not your fault. Don't blame yourself. Your mom is an angel. And she loves you very much. And she's your angel. So thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video.